Hey y'all, Dustin here. Well, it's Sunday, which means the top 25 has been released. So I figured I would make my weekly video, kind of reacting to it and giving my top 25 as well. First, I'm going to break down the actual top 25, and then I'm going to talk about my poll and what I did differently. I'm not going to talk about every single team or their ranking, just the ones that I find important. I will give out every single team in mine, though I may not talk about every single team, if that makes sense. Also, I'm putting this out here. My internet has been weird recently. This may end up coming out on Monday. I'm hoping not. It keeps going in and out, and it's messing up my upload, so please, Sunday night. And I did want to say real quick that I did my top 25 before the top 25 came out. I did mine early Sunday morning at about 10 o'clock, and the AP top 25 is released somewhere around 2 o'clock on Sundays. So if mine looks similar, that's just because we thought the same. But I will have some radical changes on my list. Alright, if you hear a paper rattle, that's because I'm not good enough to know the top 25 off the top of my head, so I had to write it down. So, just going to go down this. The top 7 stayed exactly the same. That's fine. Nothing really happened much at all this weekend. But especially in the top 7. Wisconsin 8 to A&M 9, Washington 10. That's fine. Wisconsin's win over Michigan State should have pushed them up a little bit. Tennessee 11, Florida State 12. I think it's weird that a one-loss Florida State team who got destroyed by Louisville is ahead of so many undefeated teams. That's a little interesting to me. How do you guys feel about Ole Miss being number 16 in the country? They have 2 losses, and they're ahead of teams that are undefeated, including Utah from the Pac-12, a Power 5 conference. Do you like that Ole Miss is that high, or do you think they should be penalized for 2 losses? Or should they be rewarded for playing, well, Alabama was scheduled for them, but Florida State for opening against a really tough opponent in Florida State and playing 2 really big opponents at the beginning of the year? I don't know. That's something I'm kind of iffy about. Number 17, Michigan State. That seems about right. Number 19, San Diego State. They move up 3 spots. 3 whole spots on a bye week. That's not bad. Number 20, Arkansas. They only dropped 3 spots after losing to A&M. Okay. Number 21, TCU. They were unranked last week. They moved into the top 25 when the team that beat them lost. How does that work? Was their 33-3 win over SMU really that impressive? Number 22 is Texas. Let me get this straight. Texas beat Notre Dame in 2 overtimes. Notre Dame just lost to Duke, who lost to Wake Forest. Wake Forest is undefeated. Why is Wake Forest not ranked? If you want to keep going the syllogism game, Texas lost to Cal. Arizona State beat Cal, yet Arizona State's not ranked even though they're undefeated and Texas is. Number 23 is Florida. Do you want to know how weird things are? If Florida had held on and beaten Tennessee, even if they had beaten them by 1 point in some crazy finish, there's a good chance Florida would be in the top 10 this week. Now they're number 23 with a loss. Number 24 is Boise State. I'm glad to see them in the top 25. I think things are better when Boise's in the top 25, whatever that means. But I don't know if their wins are convincing me enough. Number 25, you have the Georgia Bulldogs, who fell from grace after being destroyed by Ole Miss. I'm wondering if their win over North Carolina is the single thing keeping them in the top 25. Because North Carolina is starting to look good now with the win over Pitt. I don't know. So that's my reaction to the top 25. Now I want to give you my top 25. And again, I'm not going to talk about every team. I will talk about pretty much all of them towards the end, though, and why I placed them where I did. Remember, if you get mad at any of these, you can go ahead and hate me down in the comments below and tell me why I'm dumb. That's kind of what I'm opening myself up to here, right? So, 1, 2, 3, 4, I have Alabama, Ohio State, Louisville, and Michigan. Number 5, I have Houston. I think their schedule is actually starting to hurt them a little bit. And if they continue to play weak teams, I don't really know what their schedule is coming up, to be honest. If they keep playing weak teams, and other teams in Power 5 conferences play stronger teams, they're going to jump them. Which, you know, they beat an Oklahoma team, but now Oklahoma has 2 losses. I don't know. At number 6, I have Wisconsin. They beat a team that has already fired their head coach, which is impressive, and they beat Michigan State 30-6. I don't think anybody saw that coming. We don't really know how good Michigan State is. They had to hold on for a win against the Notre Dame team that's now 1-3, and they beat Furman, but looked kind of blah in doing so. And then they got run out of the building by Wisconsin. So I don't know how much faith to put into that pick, but I have them at number 6. I'm still going to say that Michigan State's a good team. At number 7, I have Stanford. If they beat Washington, they're in the top 5 for me, no doubt. At number 8, I have Texas A&M. I don't know. I don't really have anywhere else to put them. I like how I do my top 25 is I start down, and then when I hit a point, I start at 25 and work my way up. And somehow A&M got to 8. We'll see. At number 9, I have Clemson. They had their win over Georgia Tech look really good, but Georgia Tech is really bad. They're probably going to get rid of Paul Johnson at the end of this year. And Clemson's defense, man, they have the cure to that triple option offense. So they'll certainly get a test this weekend at home against number 3 Louisville. At number 10, I have Washington. They just haven't played anybody yet. At number 11, I have Tennessee. That second half against Florida is really the only impressive half of football I've seen this football team play. No, I take that back. Making Virginia Tech fumble as many times as they did was pretty impressive too. So I have them at 11 until they prove me otherwise. 12 through 15 is Miami, Baylor, Nebraska, Utah. At number 16, I have the Arizona State Sun Devils. Yes, I know they struggled against UTSA, but honestly, do people call them that? University of Texas San Antonio. I don't really know what people call them. The Roadrunners. I know they struggled against them, but they beat a really good Cal team. A Cal team that beat Texas. So you can't put Texas ahead of Arizona State. Remember that time I said I wasn't convinced by Boise State? I have them at 17. This is such a weird season, and it's a weird part of the season. I don't know how to judge any team. So I put Boise at 17 and San Diego State at 18 because, you got to live a little bit. So the rest of these teams, I did these all these teams have at least one loss. I did all of these based on where the teams that beat them I had ranked. I have no idea if that's fair or not. It seems pretty fair. I have number 19, I have Colorado. Their only loss was to number 4 Michigan, and they led in the second half. They beat Oregon, which is a good team. At least we think it's a good team. And this Colorado team is on the rise, y'all. Buffaloes. At number 20, I have Michigan State. Of course, they lost to Wisconsin this weekend. And Wisconsin simply is just ranked lower than Michigan, who Colorado lost to. So, again, I don't know if this is fair, but this is how I'm doing it because mine doesn't matter. At number 21, I have Florida State. They lost to the number 3 team by 43 points. Certainly they have the rest of the season to make that up and to continue to get back in. They still have to play Clemson and Florida and North Carolina this weekend, which will show us a lot. But as of right now, I don't know. Yeah, they lost to the number 3 team, so technically they should be number 19 ahead of Colorado, but they lost by 43, so I slid them down. At number 22, I have Oklahoma. They lost to the current number 2 and number 5 teams in my poll. It's 2 losses, and they're ahead of some one-loss teams, but number 23, I have Arkansas, whose only real big win was over a TCU team that I don't yet have ranked. Number 24, I have Texas. Boy, that loss to California hurt, and they had a chance at the end with that fumble that wasn't a fumble. And at number 25, I have Ole Miss. Now, I will openly admit I don't know where to put the Rebels. Do you focus on the fact that they were up by 21 points against Florida State and Alabama, or do you focus on the fact that they blew both of those 21-point leads? Do you focus on the fact that they destroyed Georgia, or do you focus on the fact that Georgia almost lost to Nicholls State and maybe that win's not that big of a deal? I really, really don't know. Definitely think they're in the top 25. I just slotted them at 25 because of their 2 losses, and I didn't really know what to do with them yet. I think Oklahoma's 2 losses was better than their 2 losses as of right now. You never know how the season can unfold, and if they run the table, obviously things will change. If Alabama loses, things could go bad for them. So I don't know, it just kind of depends. Teams that I have on the bubble that just missed the cut include North Carolina, Virginia Tech, West Virginia, TCU, Georgia, and Florida. Remember, guys, we are just 4 weeks into a 13-14 week season. There's plenty of time for these teams to change. This is just my opinion based on what I see on the field, and I tried to give a little bit of reasoning behind that. So that's it for me, guys. That is my AP Top 25 Week 4. I should have said 4 here. My AP Top 25 Week 4 reaction video. Let me know what you guys think down below. If you're seeing this, there's an excellent chance it's Monday. Whoops. I'm trying to get these up on Sunday, but sometimes the internet doesn't want to cooperate. If you enjoyed this video, guys, please make sure to hit the thumbs up button down below and like this video. Every single one of those count. I also want to hear from you. What's your top 25? Why do you have this team ranked over this team? I think it's a very interesting kind of thought puzzle to try to place these teams. I went through that list like 3 times because I would, leave a team off that had a bye week or restructure because this team beat this team, that beat this team, that beat this team, and you have to kind of rework it. It's very interesting to see where my list lines up with the actual list and where my list differs. And I would very much appreciate it if you guys started doing the same thing before the list comes out so you're not persuaded at all. It's a very interesting idea. Anyways, that was a weird ramble. You can also hit the red subscribe button down below in order not to miss any more college football videos that I have coming out soon. During the season, I will put up these top 25 videos every Sunday or Monday. A top 10 list every Tuesday. And also, whenever anything happens that just is crazy, I'm going to try to do a what just happened video to kind of dissect it in almost real time. So definitely make sure to hit the red subscribe button so you don't miss any of that. Thank you guys so much for watching and for caring about my little itty bitty channel. My next video should be up on Wednesday with a Week 5 preview. So definitely make sure to check in on that Wednesday. Thank you guys so much for watching. Genuinely appreciate it. And as always, until next time. And what I did differently, I'm not going to talk about every single team or their ranking, just the ones that I find important. I will give out every single team in mine, though I may not talk about every single team, if that makes sense. Also, I'm putting this out here. My internet has been weird recently. This may end up coming out on Monday. I'm hoping not. It keeps going in and out, and it's messing up my upload, so please, Sunday night. And I did want to say real quick that I did my top 25 before the top 25 came out. I did mine early Sunday morning at about 10 o'clock. Hey y'all, Dustin here. Well, it's Sunday, which means the top 25 has been released. So I figured I would make my weekly video, kind of reacting to it and giving my top 25 as well. First, I'm going to break down the actual top 25, and then I'm going to talk about my poll 5 off the top of my head. So I had to write it down. So just going to kind of go down this. The top 7 stayed exactly the same. That's fine. Nothing really happened much at all this weekend. But especially in the top 7. Wisconsin, 8. And the AP Top 25 is released somewhere around 2 o'clock on Sundays. So if mine looks similar, that's just because we thought the same. But I will have some radical changes on my list. All right, if you hear a paper rattle, that's because I'm not good enough to know the top 25.